Good evening, lovers. This is Prince Scorpio, Astro Wake, All Souls Astrology. It's got all the titles for this new moon in Scorpio. Prince Scorpio. So let's go in deep because that's what this season is. It's about going deep. It isn't about the shallow level hunky dory, be optimistic, just stay positive arena. This is in the intimate, intense, psychological, psychoanalytical, analytical, psycho, just period, energy. So let's try not to go psycho together. And I have the chart, I have notes, and we're going to go by one. I'll try not to waste your time and be concise, focused. That's usually I don't do this. I have a Sagittarius moon that inhibits me from focusing. So I need to tap into my Scorpio sun to focus so that I can materialize my ascendant, Capricorn. Now these are some energies that we're dealing with. Really the Scorpio and the Capricorn energy. And we have an opportunity to take care of this Capricorn Pluto energy, this Capricorn Saturn energy, this Capricorn South Node energy with harmoniousness, but it's going to be challenged first. It's going to be challenged to how we are a warrior in our relationships, how we are diplomatic in our relationships, where we let our ego get in the way in our relationships, where we all have ego hurts to our relationship. And then we're going to come into some nice harmonic energy, starting off with Venus already gave us a little bit of it. She was sextiling in Scorpio to Saturn, and she's about to hit Pluto. So this could be like really great, intimate, deep, sexual, like Kundalini rising, the serpent energy type stuff. And the way that we do that is through self-discipline. That's tapping into this Capricorn energy. And when we don't self-discipline, we self-destruct. But this is that rebirth period. So we don't get too hard on ourselves, which sometimes that Saturn voice can do to us. And it just nag, that Virgo kind of pick you apart energy, that voice that we have in our head, I could do that. And you know what? Scorpio has a lot of that same Virgoan pick you apart energy. And then it goes and it stings itself or others. Well, we could use that same stinger to go deep for surgical emotional repair. Why do I feel that way? Not so much the what. Scorpio wants to know why. Scorpio wants... they get talked about as being the sexual sign because they rule the genitalia, which is in charge of letting things out, which is how keeps our body alive, is the whole system. We bring it in through the opposite sign of Taurus. It rules the mouth, the bottom side of the brain. So, it's time. I mean, I'm not a super healthy guy at all. I drink coffee constantly. I don't practice what I preach all the time, which is a time where you get nailed for that. But also a time for it admitting that, and not letting that keep you from preach. Being seen as hypocritical. Seeing others as hypocritical. And then that's going to ultimately affect how we see ourselves. Things start in the dark in Scorpio, in underwater. We started in a womb. Things start there. And then they come to the light in Capricorn, in all the other elements. Except for air, you can't see air. But Usually, you can talk without thinking, and that means that you're usually coming from just your emotional place without filtering. Through humility, it's kind of like the Leo, which squares this sign of Scorpio. Humility could be a hard thing. Scorpios could be so introspected, introverted, where they're kind of they could self-obsess. And then somebody else comes into their life, they'll obsess over them. They could manipulate others if they're not manipulating themselves correctly. And I'll just come back to sting their ass, creating karma. Well, this is also time for karma release. When this energy sextiles the south node, that's when we release. Listen to me, please. I'm Prince Scorpio, dog. I live this life. I can tell you all about it. I've been studying astrology obsessively, just like we do. We go deep. This Mercury retrograde is about in Scorpio. Mercury's spending a lot of time in Scorpio. It's a detective of why do I feel this way. Being self-honest is simply being humble, and honesty and finding the truth is what the Scorpio energy is all about. Very much that detective level, but that detective level, not so much Virgo, who does the detective and wants to see that your receipts that you left time. Scorpio wants to go into the room with the person and put a light on them. Maybe not even a light, let's leave it black. Oh, Lord knows they love the black, the dark. And so now when we address those things and we surgically repair those wounds, often self-afflicted, and if they weren't self-afflicted, we manifested them. And if we can't, sometimes people have abuse in their lives and we don't know how karma works, dog. Scorpio is the 8th sign of October, even though it's number 10, which is also 10 is a completion and then beginning, like to 1. And it's also 8 of October, which is that changing eternally symbol. The snake, the serpent that we ride on. Scorpio can help you die and be reborn. And the more you die and you get reborn, hopefully you don't stay like an infant all the time, but you take those lessons, because while we're alive, we can remember it. What we did in our past lives, we can't remember that. Some people have that gift. I sure don't. And I don't know many people who do past life regressions. I know they're out there. God bless them. And that's dangerous work. Sometimes you're not meant to remember something that you did in a past life. So I bet you past life regressionists have to show lots of discernment. Discernment. The scalpel of the surgeon has to discern. Whenever you hear whenever you hear that in a word, it's relating to a Scorpio and scorpionic energies and discerning. And the mad scientist in his lab, the alchemist who takes lead and transforms it into a gold. Taking the lead of Saturn and bring it to the exuberant light of the child of Leo. Scorpio sits on an axis that can shoot you out and pick you up and bring you to the top of the mountain. And right now, we're having opportunities that we haven't had for a while to do this. For a while, I'm talking a year. And this is I look back in patterns. What I like on Facebook is it shows you memories. And if you look back, you'll see patterns. Obviously, the seasons, oh, look, I was doing this last Halloween. But you'll find other stuff. Like, it'll show you posts like, damn, I posted this. Not that, like 7 years ago, I'm doing this same post verbatim today. And it doesn't even have to relate to the season. But in some way, it does relate to the seasons. Not just the ones that we seemingly celebrate. Halloween, but the seasons of the cycles of the planets, which is what the seasons are. It's the cycles of the sun, dog. Studying astrology will give you a greater appreciation for the seasons. Now, a good time for this Halloween season is to see the masks that we have put on. Scorpio, even that funny that during Scorpio season that's when we dress up. Hopefully we're not dressing up how the world wants us to. Mars and Libra right now, just trying to keep peace and selling out our true authentic self, which is a Scorpionic energy and a Leo energy. Right now, we're looking for our true emotional healthy self, where our North Node in Cancer is. And we're going to have this energy trining that, the Scorpionic energy, and then we're going to have it making a sextile to the Capricornian energy. And you know what? The universe is giving us this opportunity to do this deep, psychoanalytical, self-loving and caring and honesty and ultimate, the Scorpionic deep waters, when the Scorpio has really evolved and been died or had to deal with that. I lost my mother when I was freaking 15. If you don't go through these things, then you don't have these opportunities for it just gives you more opportunity for this growth. And it takes some real work. That may include tears. But your emotion is also your strength. Because then it's tied with a healthy imagination that's powerful to manifest. Scorpios are so good at manifesting things just like that. Using magic to do it. What's magic? Positive affirmations, meditating, using sacred objects. Making everything sacred. Because ultimately, those deep, still waters of the Scorpios is a way to dive into this union with God, who is unfathomable mercy and forgiveness. That's when the Scorpio doesn't hold on to grudges and look for to sting somebody and do it very pointed. Oh, they have tongues that could just tear you apart because they cut right to what's really going on, and they do it with no care. See, with Mars, the traditional ruler, being in Libra during this, we always look to Mars and then Pluto, but first to Mars, definitely. And so what's Mars in Libra is throwing his sword around in the air, or doing the opposite and letting the air beat his ass. Meaning relating, and this is like lots of relationships to work situations. I see like lots of authority, like troubles with this Mars square Saturn, and then or a subordinate. And this could be when we put people like that in relationships where we're not coming together on an equal level. Libra, the scales of justice, we're seeking justice maybe right now, and it's being so unhappy with the way the world is, and then letting that bring us down. I think we're coming out of that. But then Mars, after it gets this square with which is conflict with authority, like the system, then it's going to hit Pluto, which is like death to the system, or the system kills you. So we want to try to use Mars and Libra. Mars is not the happiest in Libra, but you could make these planets do what you want because they don't control us. They just set the environment that we're in. And our psychology, which is a part of this environment, because that's how connected we are with this grand universe that is tilted in our favor for spiritual soul ascension. And often that comes with squares, with conflict. And if we're ready mentally, we're doing the self-discipline and the self-love, then we can take these challenges and turn them into as a master architect, into stepping stones by making that perfect cube out of that jangled rock, like a grand mason architect. I hate bigging up the masons. Although they did carry through lots of sacred knowledge. But then I think they rule the world. Anyways, and like got evil, like went to black magic. That stuff is real, dog. Protect what you bring into your house, but also don't be paranoid of that. Know your own power and that you can cast out these demons. And we all have our own demons. And this is when we get an opportunity to take the mask off of the face of this demon and see that it's freaking us. Like those Scooby-Doo memes. I was just making an astrology meme about that. Okay, I don't want to make this too long. Go on forever. Let me go over my notes. Yeah, so what? This is like serpent energy power, dog. This Catholic Church and whatnot have wanted us to say that St. Patrick chased the snakes out of Ireland. That's chasing the sacred serpent knowledge, which is like the Kundalini. And there's a death to that lower dragon that's just looking to be scorpionic, just like having sex with every other thing, a sexual addiction. But disciplining that using Saturn, Mars's freaking cohort. See, even though they're squaring each other and they're two like malefic planets, they're also malefic planets. So you can use that energy to be a power asset right now. I said, like, as we have Venus sextile in this is like an ultimate power couple status. Now you want to have this ultimate power couple status in you, which is bringing that feminine emotional part, balancing it out with your active world part, and being that master alchemist. And that's how you raise this. And with Mercury's the one who holds the caduceus in his hand, who works our nervous system, the messenger. So now it's going to stop and go in reverse, helping us in this season to go down and to slew that dragon like St. Michael, St. George, all the fairy tales of old, and to save the maiden, which is what? The sacred feminine. And then we shoot up, lighting up all our chakras, and the Aureus, the serpent on the forehead of the Egyptians, is a symbol of enlightenment, of opening the third eye. Scorpio's in charge of that. And then with Uranus opposing this, if we're able to bring this opposition together, by how? That's by balancing the way that we want to change the world, the outside world, and doing it without doing the inside work. Taurus doesn't want to change. It's funny, as much as Scorpio is a fixed sign, it's really in charge of transformation, because you see how it's fixed, but that means that when you break it, which often the Scorpio gets broken, there is opposition that gives great strength for transformation. I had other things I want to say, but I want to keep this a little bit short. I invite you to book a reading. Prince Scorpio, All Souls, Astrology, Astro Awake, here to help you. Astral Priest. You're an astral priest.